welcome to this exclusive edition of The Beacon.
Yeah.
The Beacon is the show where we bring stories of resilience, innovation, and impact. I'm the host always for the show, and today's episode is a real look behind the scenes of what happened in movies.
Wow.
Yeah, which you're well conversant with. To the guest, my guest is Hosea Ntaborwa, a boom operator and a production sound first assistant, whose work has actually helped bring to life some of the biggest productions in film and television. He is a BAFTA Academy Scholar and an NFTS alumnus. Hosea has worked on major projects like The White Lotus Season 3, Mission Impossible Fallout and Dead Reckoning Part 1 and 2, Spider-Man Far From Home, The Conjuring Last Rites, Thor, Love and Thunder, and I May Destroy You and many more. This conversation, recorded late on Thursday, the 27th, is an exclusive deep dive into the world of sound in filmmaking. If you've ever wondered how those raw, immersive sounds make it to set to screen, from set to screen, this is an episode for you. Stay with us till the end.
Oh, yeah.
So, Hosea?
Yes, sir.
You're welcome to The Beacon.
Thank you.
I hope you have an insight about The Beacon already.
Well, I think you've done better research about me than me. I've done about what beats
The Beacon.
The Beacon.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
To give you more of the insight, we've had guests from entrepreneurs to athletes. We've had from educators to scientists. And of course, today we are looking at you.
Amazing. It's exciting to be in Gulu, but I think this is the first radio interview I've done.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? I've been in TV, I've been in radio studio, but I've never been having this proper radio interview. So I'm happy to be here.
Actually, for me, it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Oh, me too, man.
I'd actually wanted you to be live on air, but
we'll do it. I'll be back. It won't be the last time you see me.
I can't wait for that time.
Yeah.
Now, maybe we start with your journey. Sound is such a crucial part of storytelling, yet many people don't think about how it's captured and how it actually gets to the real screen. Just from a background, today I had an interview with 1 or 2, 3 people about sound, and they all have different ideas about how it gets onto the screen. I think in this episode we're gonna get the real thing from an expert like you. Maybe you can tell us, how did you get into the world of production sound?
You want the short version or the
whatever you're comfortable with.
It's so crazy that I've started to tell this story. For some reason I thought everyone knew, but I realized I'm telling it to even my family. So because my spider bites, like in the Spider-Man to become Spider-Man, in sound, I was a young age in Kampala, probably I was about 6 or 7, that I used to get fascinated with sound. How does it get to a radio? Like, how does sound get to the radio? Like, how come people talk on the radio?
That was from 6.
Yeah, so I was like 6, 7, and I'm like, how? I want to know how. I want to know how. And then the same thing with TV. I wanted to know, how do people talk on the TV? It's in the room right now. Yeah. You don't see anybody. But as a kid, I really wanted to know. And I was telling myself, like, I want to be the person who brings the sound to the radio. So I think that's where my bag for sound started. I was just fascinated with sound, but mainly radio and TV. So that's where it started.
So can you tell us a little bit more about your education at NFTS?
NFTS.
Yeah.
So this is the short version. So my dream was to do sound, and then being in Uganda at that time, if I told anyone the story, probably my parents would say, you're going crazy, you're going cuckoo, because no one understood it. And then I went to the UK. I was a teenager. That dream, I didn't think it would, because I decided to do music, to be a music producer, thinking, okay, that's the way I can do it.
Okay.
But to cut the story short, when I realized that the dream can happen, I applied to the NFTS is the best film school in the world. It's your Cambridge, the Oxfords, or the Harvard in the film industry. And it's the only well-known probably school in the world that like skills people, crew, basically the technical side of making films.
Okay.
So it's the best education I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
Because I was doing something I love to do, and that's where I go into the program of production sound. And the school is expensive. It's a private school. But I was lucky to get the BAFTA Academy scholarship.
Okay.
To be able to go there for 18 months to just study production sound.
Wow.
The art of recording location sound.
Wow, that's amazing. So how did you break into the industry?
So that was my break. Going into the industry, because the industry, as people see, is a huge industry, but the community that works in the film industry is small.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? In terms of like, for you to get into the industry, you need to know somebody. Sure. And in the UK, it used to be more nepotism, like who do you know, do you go to Anchor and that kind of stuff. Yeah. But then the industry is growing so much to a point where that couldn't really feed the industry in terms of crew. So film school is a school that's been around, the National Film and Television School. That's what NFTS stands for. It's been around since the 1930s.
Okay.
And it's educated most of the people that work in an industry in the UK in terms of like directors, writers, production sound, editors, production design, writers, composers, and right now most of the people that work in the industry, that's one of it's like the bridge to the industry, because they provide you with network. And I have a saying that if you go through that school and you don't make it, there's something wrong with you.
Wow, that's amazing. We're going to take a quick break here, but before we do that, I want to know, like, your career has taken you to some of the greatest, the most ambitious film sets. When do you, what was the moment when you felt like, yeah, this is what I'm doing this for, like, I really made it? Like, your breakthrough moment.
Listen, even till today, I can't believe. Sometimes I have to pinch myself and kind of like, this is not normal. But the moment that I walked onto Mission Impossible 6,
sure,
that's when I'm like, what am I? Where am I? Because it's Tom Cruise, Thames, like Simon Pegg. That was my first thing, like walking on set.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
So what was the experience like? I know we're gonna dig deeper maybe
the experience,
but
it was surreal. I remember walking on set, and I don't know if you've watched Fallout Mission 6.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
There is a scene where Tom Cruise and the black actor Thames and Simon Pegg, where they fake like it was a TV room and everything, for the walls fall off and then like they tricked you. That's the scene I walked on set onto.
Sure.
Oh yeah, everything was moving so fast, like people, like you know when things are just happening and you're like, whoa, things need to slow down. In my head, everything was too fast.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? So that was a still moment I'll never forget.
So I think that is also quite relatable to this moment to me.
Yeah. Stop it.
Yeah, sure. Yes, dear listener and viewer, we're going to take a quick break from here. You're still watching or listening to The Beacon. And of course, I'm your host, Emma Asagian. After the break, we're going to come back and look more into the breakthrough, the challenges, and of course, how Hosea Ntaborwa came through for this.
My name is Belinda Pule. I do marketing and customer relations at Boma Hotel. I'm excited about that. That was our interest. The fact that we wanted to be associated with this it's the maiden award ceremony, the very first one. So we wanted to be a part of the journey from the beginning. The fact that Hosea is here, I feel like bringing that much talent after seeing what we saw on screen, and for him to be among us with us, for me, it just reaffirms the fact that we have greatness inside of us. So we are able to do exceedingly and abundantly more than we think we can. We heard about the NUFA, and we heard about an award show coming up, and all the activities leading up to the award show.
Welcome back to the Beacon. Of course, it's me, your host, Emma Sagian, and my guest today is Hosea Ntaborwa. Of course, he's a BAFTA academic scholar, and of course, he's also an NFTS alumnus. He's also a boom operator, and of course, a boom operator and production sound first assistant. It's an honor to have him in the show, and of course, taking on from where we left, you've worked on major projects like Mission Impossible, and of course, we know Thor, Love and Thunder. What are some of the biggest challenges in capturing sound on big budget sets?
It's noisy.
That is what I expected.
It's but the thing is, working with people like Tom Cruise, I've never worked with anyone that professional in terms of, like, he's a perfectionist, and he's one actor I know that will shut anyone on set if even you move a needle when we're recording dialogue.
Wow.
But the thing is, of course, in the UK, we prime ourselves, especially in production sound, that 90% or 95% of the sound we record on location on set ends up on screen.
Okay.
But on big blockbuster movies, there's certain things where you have to do things like a guide track. A guide track is where, for example, you're working on a scene, they got wind, these big wind fans, rigs and that kind of stuff, where you can't do anything. But it is what it is what you hear. But we do what we call the guide track, so that even in those noisy moments on set, you have them recorded. And then if they go back to do what's ADR, audio dialogue replacement, at least they have something they can match it with.
Wow.
But I would say still, I believe in big blockbuster films, you still have like 90% of location sound recorded.
So how about the experience with explosions?
Normally when you see explosion in movies, normally they are shot without dialogue.
Okay.
I don't know if you will, or either people are going to be screaming.
Okay.
And the thing is about production sound, it's about perspective.
Okay.
So even though things are being blown up, you as an audience, you want to believe that things are blown up. So you want to hear these explosives.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And most of the time, those scenes, you're going to find that people really, the dialogue is quite loud and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Some of it might be cleaned actually on those big explosions. But most of the times, when you're doing explosions, you don't want to be shooting dialogue. You don't want to be recording dialogue.
Okay,
so I don't know if you start noticing, like every time you see explosions, you're not going to have a heavy dialogue scene.
I'm trying to figure out.
Do you know what I mean? You go back and watch any movies, especially with the action movies. When there's a lot of explosions, you're not going to have, you might have a line or two.
So I want to take you back. You talked about someone like Tom Cruise, who can shut everyone down just because of the sound of the movie.
Man.
So have you had any challenges maybe coordinating with actors and directors?
Of course.
Tell us about it.
It actually answers your question. Basically, it's going to answer your question even before. Of course, there's challenges. Like the director, sometimes, some of these big directors, some of them, they don't really care. They want to, they're into the performances, they're into, they're not really focusing on dialogue most of the times.
Okay.
That might shock you. So it's our job to make sure that if anything, we don't miss anything, basically.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? So, cause on these big films, because you got egos on films, I'll tell you that.
It sounds like a very, very tough
yeah.
job.
So there's a lot of challenges, but the thing is our job. We're not there to just record sound.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's our job to make sure we support that dream of the director to, to bring it to life. So we're telling stories through sound.
That's amazing. I think in this interview, I'm also trying to figure out and get to understand lots of things that happen in movies.
Yes.
Most times we only see and get to understand what happens on the screen, but behind the scenes, we don't really know that all these challenges, it's really there. We don't even think it exists.
Oh yeah, I tell people even when I came, because we're trying to we started a production company in Uganda with Filamu Africa. Yeah. Filamu is Swahili films.
Okay.
Which means films in Swahili.
I think I saw that somewhere.
Yeah, so Filamu Africa, we a production company that here to produce films in Uganda. So most of the times, I tell people we don't need to be friends.
Sure.
To make good work.
Okay.
Because one thing I know about filmmaking is it's all about relationship, collaborations. I've been on sets where people are not talking to each other, but when they do action, everything it's a language we speak.
Wow.
Making films.
Wow. That's amazing. So, maybe you tell us what one of the most memorable, or the most difficult scenes you've ever had to record sound for.
There's a film probably people haven't. Probably that's why they haven't really. It never went big. There's a film called oh my god, this is bad. It's a movie. It was a remake, a period movie, and one of the actresses. I don't want to mention names, but she took off her radio mic during the take.
Yeah.
So, and that film. They broke a lot of microphones because they used to cut. Yeah, so I think that's the only movie I've worked on where I worked with a difficult actress, which happens all the time. But that's the only one where someone took off a mic.
I think that's one of the reasons why you don't even remember the name of the
exactly. But these things do happen.
Yeah.
But it's our jobs, especially it's my job, to make sure that even if people are going to be difficult, because it's not easy being an actor, I will tell you that.
Sure.
But at the same time, we're there to make sure we do a job. But at the same time, you're working with people, and the hardest thing is to work with people.
Wow.
So that's why I tell people people's skills is 50%, and then the skills of recording sound is 50%. Because those two come together, you can record the best sound on set.
Wow, that's wonderful. We're going to take another break after this, but before we do that again, most times we know sounds in movies and films often go unnoticed.
Yeah.
But of course, I want you to bring something to light here. How I wish more people would actually understand about your work. I don't know how you can actually bring this better to light.
It's what I actually have found in Uganda, that people hire production sound lost.
Okay.
Which I've been trying to kind of educate them. You can save loads of money if you get the right people to do sound, but at the same time, don't hire sound lost.
Okay.
So even on them big films, if you hire DP, the next person you're gonna hire a sound mixer.
Yeah.
You need them to be in your pre-production. It's very important I need to know where we're gonna shoot. I need to know what we're working with. On big films, most of the times I have a week just to prep for the film.
Yeah.
Just to learn about the costumes we're gonna shoot in the film.
Okay.
Familiarize myself with costumes.
All those contribute to sound in movies?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
For example, in Spider-Man, so you see superhero movies, you can see those costumes are quite tight and that kind of stuff. So most of the times we rig those kind of costumes like a week before. You know what I mean? That's why you have prep for the week. But remember, any movie I work on, I will know that I'm going to work on a movie maybe like 6 months before or 2 months before. Do you know what I mean? The minimum. But a sound mixer will know about that movie. It will be part of that movie before we get to shoot. Probably like months way before they get into, because they have to do recce's. You know, they have to do recce's. And then when we come on like a week before, and then we start to know who are we working, what kind of costume. So it's like, for example, that Spider-Man costume, that we rigged mics in there a week before we start shooting. Okay. So every time he puts it on, there's a mic rigged in already. All we have to do into the costume.
Okay, so how does it capture when the mic is inside the costume?
So it's something probably will be showing in the master classes, some of these rigs. Okay. But normally you rig a cable in the actual microphone, and then normally in the morning you just come and plug in the transmitter.
So what's that for? Like what kind of
so
sound
basically
does it capture?
every actor you see on set, they're wearing a radio mic.
Okay.
It's my job to make sure that you never know where that mic is. So that's my job. At the same time, you can't see it, and it has to record good sound.
Wow. It's wonderful. We're going to come back and look at innovation and future of sound technology, maybe something to do with AI. I don't know if it still exists in or it's already entering into the movie industry and film. So we'll come back and look at that. It's still your host, Emma Sagian on the Beacon. Please stay with us till the end.
Hosea's visit means a lot because like that now start to show the potential that like the film sector in the region has. And I think because in this film business we all work through network. He knows a lot of people that I believe by them seeing online that he has been in Kulu, that alone attracts a lot of interest from other filmmakers outside of this country like to want to visit Kulu. So that is one thing that I think is important. But then also like his idea to skill the local filmmaker in just a way that if there's going to be a production coming from outside of this country, there are local filmmakers who can work in the crew that are very skilled so that they can get the opportunity to get employed. But above all is like his emphasis like for filmmakers to specialize. Sure. You know, like this thing how people feel like, man, I'm a jack of all trades. It doesn't work that way. So you cannot serve two masters at a time. So if you're a camera person, please stick into the camera, learn and learn and learn. There's going to be a day that you're going to be so good people want to work with you. So I think that is something that it has been just an eye-opener, that even if you love the rest, or even if like our industry is still not structured enough that people can specialize, it's very important for us filmmakers to start building a name in a given field. And that is something that I think we take.
I have so many questions for you right now, but we'll not dive into them because of time. But to the people who would like to closely follow Nufa, what one great thing would you promise them as they stay close to Nufa?
One is the opportunities that we promise that as long as a community, as a region, we support the growth of film sector, there's going to be a lot of opportunities economically. Sure. Because like all these film projects that are done comes with big budget. And these monies that come are not only for the filmmakers, they are for the local community. How? Because like a big crew comes to shoot, they have got to eat food. Where does food come from? Our mothers who go to the garden. Then these people have got to sleep. Where do they sleep? They sleep in hotels. So that means like people in the hotel business are able to benefit. And then if they go to set, how are they going to travel? The people in the transport sector are going to benefit. And then like they bring equipment in, they have to pay insurance and pay tax and all these things. So I feel like if you get to understand like the context of what film is, then you realize like film has a very big opportunity that people can read from it. And then one big thing is it doesn't matter what skills you have or like level of education. So film can just employ anyone. A carpenter, you can get working like to do production design, or like you're a tailor, you can do benefit from fashion or like the costume design. If you maybe say like you're a craftsman, you can benefit in making props for the film. Like all this tells you that when we allow the film sector here to grow, we're going to be attracting a lot of opportunities for our people, and that's going to be worth a lot of money.
Yes, welcome back to the Beacon. It's still your host, Emma Sagan, with Hosea Ntaborwa, of course, boom operator and production sound fast assistant. We've provided him before, so if you've missed out, you can actually rewind. Or for those on the radio, you can still go back to our socials and get more details on him, especially on our Facebook and our Instagram. So, Hosea, welcome back.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful, and it's still wonderful having you in the show.
Exciting.
So, technology is actually changing the film industry. How does sound recording, how has it evolved over the recent years?
It's evolved a lot. Earlier we were talking about radio mics and that kind of stuff. These things have changed a lot. Now we have it's mics which can fit anywhere, tiny, but it's out. 10 years ago, even way back before I go into the industry, Plan A was always your boom mic.
Okay.
Radio mics came into play, and mostly they were more about Plan B. So talking about technology right now, mics we use in most of the films, the radio mics have caught up with the boom mics. You wouldn't even tell a difference. So now they become Plan A as well, because they do sound really great. Tiny, but they sound really great as well.
Wow.
Some of the like transmitters, now they record sound as well. So for example, most of the times, if someone is wearing a radio mic consists of a transmitter and a receiver.
Okay.
Normally receivers, that's what takes back to the recorder to record sounds. But most of the times, 10 years ago, if you lose range, between the transmitter and the receiver, that means you're gonna lose dialogue.
Sure.
Nowadays, these transmitters can record.
Okay.
So most of the times, if you put a transmitter on someone, you put it in recorder as well. In real time, they take time code as well, and we're no longer worried about losing range when you're recording sound. So that's how far we've come. I was telling someone a story, Avatar.
Yeah.
It's not only in sound as well. I was telling a story about Avatar. Avatar, the idea when the director Cameron wanted to shoot Avatar, there was no technology digitally to shoot that movie.
Okay.
It took 10 years technology to come to catch up.
So how did they do that?
So basically, because when he had the idea to shoot Avatar, you couldn't shoot it on the film cameras. Okay. They're quite huge if you've ever seen them.
Yeah.
So by the time he had the idea to shoot the film, you couldn't shoot Avatar with those cameras.
So you had to wait 10 more years?
10 more years, that's when you had a digital camera that can give you the same quality as film to shoot it, because they used about, some of the scenes, we used about motion capture of that world. You could need about probably, there's a scene where they use 150 cameras.
Sure. Just like in the Matrix?
Yeah, exactly. So it's the same thing. I just wanted to give you a little bit story about that, but it's the same thing with sound as well. The same things we never, like in sound, you couldn't do on set. But technology has caught up to a point where you can lose range on someone. Sure. They walk away, but then you're not worried about recording dialogue. You can just press record. And the other thing is this is gonna get technical a bit, you know what I mean? But there's what you call the 32-bit flow, where there's a dynamic range within the actual pack of a transmitter, of a radio mic, whereby when you scream before, you might overload the mic.
Okay.
But nowadays, with the 32-bit flow, it's got someone screams, it opens up.
Wow.
That you're not gonna overload the mic. So those are the kind
so it sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
But of course, it's something I'm also trying to figure
to
out.
figure out. Okay, basically, so when you record sound, normally, I said normally, but even in the music, you record it in 24 bits.
Okay.
So when we talk about 24,
I don't know if you can make it much simpler
Okay.
for the sake of the audience. I don't know, like
dynamic range. Let's talk in dynamic range in a voice.
Yeah.
So the lowest point of you talking quietly and to the loudest point.
Yeah.
Right? So for instance, right now we're talking, if you scream, that's going to change in the levels onto what's going into the mic.
Yeah,
So if you're too close, it's going to distort. Have you had mics on the live and mics are distorting and that kind of stuff?
Sure.
So imagine if someone just screams without expecting them to scream, which happens on, say, with actors' performances. Before, it might overload to a point where it distorts. That means you're not going to record good dialogue.
So currently, it's self-adjustable.
Exactly. Within technology has come into a point where, with the transmitter, he helps those from 24 to 32. You see the numbers have gone up. That means you have a bigger range in terms of recording a scream from the quiet point to the loud point.
Wow, that's amazing. So is there any other upcoming trend that actually, especially in production sound, that excites you personally?
Oh yes.
Tell us about
For example, in Mission 6 Fallout,
yeah.
There's a scene, a hello scene, Tom Cruise jumping out of the plane.
Yeah.
When the movie, in the beginning of the movie, we were thinking about recording sound 3,000 feet up in the air.
Wow.
So when you look at that scene, everything you hear in that, even just the soundtrack of The Wind, I'll show you some pictures. It was recorded, people jumping out of the plane.
Okay.
So when Tom Cruise had it, was like, that's the soundtrack, that's going to be. So when you watch it back, actually, you hear the wind.
You're trying to say everything in that set was natural.
It was natural.
Wow.
Even his dialogue in the element, because he's wearing a helmet for skydiving.
So how did it come that clear? Did you have
So basically,
do some touch on it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Things were made specifically for that movie.
Wow.
So we recorded it on a transmitter, because you can't really be having a receiver. You're recording back on a recorder. So what happened was, see when I told you, maybe 20 years back you wouldn't have been able to do this, but the transmitter can record sound. So basically a small transmitter, because everything added on to him needed not to be heavy. He's jumping out, he's doing skydiving, it has to be light. So we were allowed in one of the smallest transmitters to be sewn into his costume. And the reason bond conductor mics, technology is used mostly in the army.
Okay.
So he was wearing a bond conductor microphone, which was specifically designed to record dialogue.
Sure.
3,000, recording straight with the transmitter. So basically it's a mic you plug in your ear.
It
Works
invisible to
exactly. It works with vibration of your jaw, and that's how we recorded dialogue. But everything was made. The technology is used in the army.
What do you mean works in the vibration of your jaws?
So you see when you speak,
Yeah.
how you hear me talking to you. There's vibration going on
Sure.
between me moving my ear, my lips,
Yeah.
your tongue.
Yeah.
And then goes into, that's for you to hear me, that vibration causes you to hear the
So
sound
it
coming.
doesn't pick the sound like from the external.
No,
the
from
movement of
exactly. So the reason technology they used in the army a lot, them being in those, fighter jets and that kind of stuff to communicate. So normally you don't really see them wearing mics and like, so that's the kind of technology, but we embedded that into production sound. So Tom Cruise is wearing a bond conductor microphone which goes through his ear. So the moment he talks, it records through vibration in his jaws to record to sound. Wow. The mic is in his ear and records whatever he was saying and goes back into the transmitter.
That sounds very interesting and it sounds very impossible.
That's Mission Impossible, and that's what he likes.
Wow.
He asked, we came up with that.
I wish we could talk more about different actors, but I think we'll preserve that for another time.
Another time, exactly. We'll be back.
Maybe we're going to take another break and then we'll come back and look at maybe what you can say as a final slot to people who are actually aspiring to become sound professionals, especially for films and TVs. Yeah. And we've also seen, especially in Northern Uganda, TVs are on the rise and film industries are also coming up. There are other people who have to take up the roles that you've done for over a decade now. Yeah. We'll come back and look into that. But you've worked across film and TV. Yes. So how does sound recording differ between both of these two? I mean, for TV and then for film.
For film. To be fair, there's no difference.
Okay.
It's the same approach. The only difference is when it comes to film, it's kind of like you go more time in doing things. With TV, everything is fast-paced. Sometimes you don't have time to do things.
Sure.
But there is what we call high-end TV, which is your Netflixes, the Apple TV, the streaming. Those have changed the way TV now. They've come with big budgets. So really and truly, there's no difference anymore, because when the Netflix came in, the Apple TV, they have bigger budgets, almost like you're shooting really short feature films. You know, so the difference is it's the same demand, but the difference would be probably is the pace of recording things. So some of the TV shows I've done, which were still like production for BBC, is timing. You know what I mean? Yeah. We have a saying like, if you've worked in that fast-paced environment making TV dramas, when you come to feature, it's an easy world. You know what I mean? Because you got time to do things.
Is it because you can do and redo and
exactly.
Do, but the other side
yes, it's almost time. You got time to do things.
So,
you know,
is it? Do you apply the same technology in feature films to TVs, especially like the radio mics?
Yes, for us it doesn't change. You're still using the same key. Even cameras, they all use the same thing. The only difference will be time. Do you know what I mean? Whereby in feature films you might have time to go into you got time to put someone's mic on and that kind of stuff. With TV, sometimes it's what we call guerrilla shooting, where you just have to do things on the go, right? So, but that TV is gone away because of the Netflixes and all that. They've changed it. That's why we call it high-end TV. Yeah. Almost you're shooting feature films. And probably now you see these TV series, they've got big stars.
Sure.
You know. So the difference in terms of recording sound, to answer your question, no. It's still the same approach. We're still using the same kit. We're using there's no difference. It's the same approach.
Wow, that's beautiful. I know the audience have lots of questions that they would love to ask, just like me.
Yeah.
But of course, I think we'll save that for a later time. You're always, I know you're a very, very simple guy and easy to reach. We'll always forward all those questions to you, and we'll see how you get back to them.
Yeah.
For now, let's take another break, and then we'll come back and see what advice can Hosea Ntaborwa give to the people who are actually aspiring to do films and movies, especially in production sound.
My name is Delish. I have watched several movies, but I can say they're actually quite many, but I'm going to focus on Lion King.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are times that there is a fight scene, and then there are times that there's a jolly mood.
Yeah.
So it's the way they play with the sound, it kind of speaks to my heart. much. So it makes you get emotional, and a little bit on the other side you also get. I'm an actress, and it's the best I can do when it comes to film. I have not tried other fields that they do, but I think when I am given a chance, I can act almost anything.
Let's go.
Yes, let's go.
Yes, for anyone listening who actually wants to get into sound, especially for films, what's
Yeah.
your advice?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I guess anyone who works in films and TV or works into making films is you have to love it,
Sure.
and passion, right attitude. As I told you earlier, is you need to have people skills. They're very important because sometimes you're dealing with people with egos. The higher you go,
Yeah.
but I would encourage, we want to get more women into sound, because some of the best people, boom operators I've seen
Okay.
are women.
Sure.
In the UK, there's a lot of diversing into like get more women into sound because they're really, really perfect for it. But I would encourage anyone, like, do your research, but the best way to learn is getting on set. Do you know what I mean? Because I tell people, like, if you want to get into the industry, especially sound, get on set first. Because you might find out that it's not for you. But again, if you get on set, you can find other departments you can work in. But it's the best. I can't believe I get paid to do what I do.
Wow.
You know, it's given me a great life. I've seen the world. And most of the places I've used to say that I want to travel to, work has taken me there. I've been to some of the amazing places,
Wow.
amazing people. My dad used to say the best education is to travel, and I've really testified to that. But through this skill of making films, I've met King Charles because of making films, sound, conversation, and the conversation was about sound.
Sure.
So I'm really, really lucky. I'm blessed to be doing what I love to. Not many people do what they love to do. So I promise you, if you want to get into it, just get into it. I'll leave my details. Do you know what I mean? If you have any questions, I would love to encourage anyone want to get into the industry. Just get into it. Do you know what I mean?
So one greatest take home for us is just love it.
You have to love it. You have to love it because it's, however much I always feel like, however much you see this glamour on the screen, it's hard work.
Sure.
It's hard work. That's why I really, if you don't love it, this industry will throw you out.
Can't do it.
They will spit you out. Exactly. But most people that work in the industry, you want to like, it's a different breed, but it's hard work. That's all I can say. But at the same time, it's amazing. It's no job to me. It's no work. It's just a lifestyle.
Sure.
Yeah.
So as we wind up, what's up next for you? Like any exciting projects coming up?
The exciting part is being in Gulu first, doing the master class. But the potential, there's a lot of talent in Uganda.
Sure.
And my dream is to impact or to help someone to get into the industry.
Sure.
To live a life I've lived as well, or even better, probably better. But at the same time, excited about Filamu as well, what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And we are starting a school as well called Quarter,
Okay.
which is gonna be training technical crew, similar to the school I went to, the National Film and Television School. That's a dream because I feel like to have a strong industry, we need to get really highly skilled people
Wow.
Yeah.
This has actually been one of the most incredible conversations
Me
I've
too.
ever had. I must say that. And of course, talking about great projects coming in northern Uganda. Personally, I'm an actor.
Hey.
I've done a few movies. Okay, just one anyway. The Evil Marriage, which is.
I need to see it. You need to get. Is it out?
I don't know. It's
When
still
it's
cooking
out,
somewhere.
when it's out, please. I would love to.
I'll see that,
Love to see it.
But of course, thank you so much for sharing your journey.
Thank you too.
To the audience and the viewers, Hosea Ntaborwa actually got his interest in sound at the age of 6.
Yes,
I still recall well.
yes.
And of course, at the moment, he's actually done so much, especially what we see on the screen. You've seen Mission Impossible, you've seen Thor, Love and Thunder, you've seen The Conjuring, Last Rites, and so many other movies. I May Destroy You and more.
Yeah, The Conjuring that's the last one I've done. It's coming out in September this year. Yes.
Wow.
It has not out yet.
We can't wait to view it.
Are you into horror movies?
I also heard you did Thor, Hobbs and Shaws. Fast and
That
Furious.
yes.
That's just the by the
That-
way now.
Yeah, that was exciting as well. Yes. Yes.
So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on the Beacon. Can't wait to have you back again. For the next time, we actually have to be live on air.
Oh,
So
I
we
would
can
love to
actually
cut
shoot the questions
exactly.
and answer live
Yes.
in real
Me
time.
too. It's been a privilege and a pleasure. Thank you
Wow.
for having me.
Thank you.